With this meeting, what do you think Trump actually wanted it for? Do you think he knew this would be the outcome? And do you think he was successful in achieving them in like a PR perspective?
Donald Trump, what he really wanted out of this was a win. Donald Trump is in a lot of trouble when it comes to, especially his image in terms of foreign policy. He brags about all these very flimsy, if not just completely fraudulent peace deals. You know that he talks about India, Pakistan. He goes on and on about, oh, look at all these peace deals that I did. But the one that he said he was going to get done, Ukraine, has completely fallen apart. It's fallen apart so much that the US and Russia at this point are in danger of having the last nuclear treaty between them expire in February 2026, the New START treaty. And that essentially means a new arms race is completely on the table. And it's already really started with the United States announcing a Golden Dome, that they've sent nuclear submarines off the coast of Russia. They're constantly flirting with the idea of giving Ukraine the ability to shoot tomahawks into Russia, to shoot long range missiles into Russia under Donald Trump, who said this was not going to happen and said that in 24 hours, this war was going to end. And this has compelled Russia to show off what kind of weapons it has. The Bereznik missile now, the Poseidon nuclear drone, these incredibly high tech and destructive weapons built because of the years and years and years. Now, the Trump administration at the head of this, of completely reneging, ripping up, tearing apart all the nuclear and arms control treaties between them. So, and we have to remember that Donald Trump um, tore up one of the most important nuclear treaties in his first administration between the U.S. and Russia. So, the INF. So, all of this is to say is that Donald Trump is failing in so many ways. His foreign policy is a disaster. It's simply the status quo with a Trump stamp on it, with a kind of Trump branding to it. But all in all, what's happened is by default, the US has been just as, if not more, aggressive in all areas of the world. Now we have a risk of war with Venezuela. In June 2025, the United States was very close to an all-out war with Iran, and the U.S. Cold War on China has not let up, even though Trump claims that his foreign policy now is more focused on the Western Hemisphere. I don't think there's been any evidence that the Indo-Pacific Command has shrunk, that resources have been diverted, that we've seen the military assets, aircraft carriers, naval assets, etc., be moved from the Asia Pacific or the South China Sea. No, the U.S. has Nimitz, and some of these biggest destroyers are still being sent to the Indo-Pacific. And Pete Hegseth is literally speaking with a forked tongue, saying on the one hand, oh, this deal between Trump and Xi Jinping is such an example of peace in the world, and we're so much stronger together. Now I'm talking on the phone with with our Chinese counterpart, the defense minister, and then on the other, he'll say, "Oh, well, to our Indo-Pacific so-called allies, we're going to continue to aggressively push our agenda in the South China Sea and elsewhere in order to protect and prevent war of a so-called threatening China." So this is where Trump is in foreign policy, and then domestically, the economy is in shambles, and so many other of these kind of particular niche issues that he said he was going to resolve, like the Epstein issue and all of this, has fallen by the wayside. So
Yeah.
he is in big trouble, and he really needed to win. And even the New York Times had to say Xi Jinping exercised the art of letting your so-called adversary look like they got a win while coming out stronger. That is essentially what happened. As much as I often disagree with what the New York Times says, that framing of it is pretty accurate. China has no interest in, embarrassing the United States or humiliating the United States or making the U.S. look bad. It doesn't really have to do that at all, because the U.S., under its current political leadership and its own economic and political contradictions, does that just fine with an elite class, with a ruling circle that just causes fires, tries to put them out, and ends up expanding them. So that is where Trump is, and that's what he hoped to get out of it. Did he succeed? It's unclear because you have, on the one hand, a huge so-called MAGA, astroturfed activists, paid consultants, all of these people all over social media. They flood and they say, look at how great everything is. Trump is so strong. Trump is the best. We love Trump. All of this. But in general, I don't think anyone from the very beginning of this trade war who is paying attention and who isn't the utmost of China hawks could interpret the reality of the situation now as being a win for the United
Yeah.
States or Donald Trump throughout this whole period, including this meeting. And the evidence is in the fact that anti-China sentiment has actually reduced over since the Trump administration came into office, especially since the TikTok ban brought a lot of US TikTok users to Xiaohongshu, and that led to a lot of people seeing the real China. And now it's the cat's kind of out of the bag. People want to go to China. People want to see China. And
Mm.
there's far less animosity toward China among the US population than there was prior to Donald Trump's administration coming into power again. So that's a failure because that's not the intention. As much as Trump says he wants peace, he doesn't necessarily want people to be liking China more. He wants people to like the US more. He wants people to like him more. He wants him to look like he is the most powerful figure in the world and that the US is the most powerful and most exceptional country in the world. And no, the Trump administration did not come out of this meeting with any of that intact.
Yes. I mean, he's clearly